before I finished school and created a successful career in consulting and finance technology, I used to be a bouncer in New York City, and this was, I don't know, about almost 10 years ago now. And I did that for about 5 years, biggest nightclub in the city. And back then, and even today, I suppose, it's super easy to spot a fucking loser. And you could see them from a mile away. Before they come up to you to even hand you their ID, you could spot them. And you could tell because there's somebody who'd walk with their head down, shoulders drooping forward, their back arched, they're just kind of slumped over, like already fucking half dead, not walking up with their back straight, proud and all that. They're just kind of hiding themselves a little bit in their clothing. They got a big fucking hoodie on or whatever. And you could fucking spot these people. And oftentimes they weren't causing any kind of trouble, but lots of times these fucking losers had bad habits, like drugs or some kind of sexual thing, and you'd have to kind of check them to make sure that they weren't going to be a problem. Like they kind of give off those school shooter vibes, and so you'd want to make sure before you let them into the club that they weren't going to be fucking trying to diddle any of the girls or doing all kinds of drugs in the bathroom and fucking puking all over the dance floor because they're ODing because they're some fucking junky ass loser. So those guys, you probably give them a little extra search, make sure they didn't have any kind of weapons or anything on them. But the thing is that you have to ask yourself, do you know any losers in your life? Or better yet, are you one of them? Are you a fucking loser? Are you the kind of guy that you come up to a club, am I going to look at you and say, I don't know about this guy? And you can tell that you are that kind of person because you feel it. You guys can visualize me, right? Standing in front of a nightclub in my uniform or whatnot, and I can see this guy kind of slumping, slouching, walking his way through the line, getting up to me, handing me their ID, not even making eye contact or anything. If I'm asking them questions, hey, how you doing or whatever, and they're not really responding. Are you that person? And the good news is that you at least are watching this, so you are aware that you're that person and you want to change. Maybe you got a family member who's like that and you wish you could get them to change. But you have to be able to be honest with yourself and say, I think I'm a fucking loser. I think I need to fucking change. Honestly, it happened to me when I left New York, and I moved down here, moved down to Texas, and I said, okay, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to live, I got to go to school. I got to get an education. I got to move into a high paying career in finance, consulting, investment banking. These were the kind of jobs I wanted to do. I knew I had the dream, I had the goal, but god damn, man, coming to Texas and being like, fuck, I didn't finish any school. I took some classes, finance courses, English. I could speak well. I understand the way the world works. I know how to trade stocks, that kind of stuff, right? But at the same time, I'm so uneducated and it feels like such a massive mountain to climb. I feel like such a fucking loser. And I did. I was fucking fat. I was out of shape. I was, addicted to multiple substances, working in nightclub life in New York. I was an alcoholic. I drank a lot when I was clubbing. And, coming down here, I said, holy fuck, like, I can't even afford to drink as much as I used to because I didn't have a job. And I took a bullshit job, working in a restaurant down here, $2 an hour plus tips. It was a shit little restaurant. Y'all might remember this. It's called Black Eyed Pea, and it's a crappy little restaurant chain. The total check size was maybe like $10, $10 to $15, depending on how many people were eating. But one person can eat there for like $10, $15. So what's 20% of a $15 check? if they wanted to tip me 20%, right? I get paid $2-3 tips. That's 20%. $3, 20% of a $15 bill. So I got my $2 an hour plus my $3 tip. I'm making $5 an hour. Now it wasn't that bad. I was averaging about $7 to $10 an hour, but yeah, it fucking sucked, and I felt like a fucking loser. I mean, all my coworkers were, great hardworking people, but they weren't the kind of people that I'm working with now. And they weren't, the caliber of people that I was used to working, even in a nightclub world. In a nightclub scene, I mean, I had all kinds of crazy, former criminals, gangbangers, all kinds of people like that working with me. But man, I mean, we were all a bunch of violent, aggressive fucks. Nobody could fuck with us. We were like a part of a gang almost, and it was great. I felt a real sense of connection with them every night. We worked our asses off, protected each other, had each other's backs, and it was a brotherhood, and it was a really good experience. But in coming down here, I mean, I felt like a fucking loser. I looked like a fucking loser. I was fat. I was overweight. I had, no real clear purpose or direction. I just knew I wanted to have a high-paying job. And I had this massive mountain in front of me, getting my residency and then going back to college and pretty much starting school almost from the beginning. And yeah, it was very fucking embarrassing. I felt like a fucking loser, and I was one. I swear I was a fucking loser. And, how do you know if you're a loser? Like I said, you got to sit down and think about it. You hate your fucking job. You hate going to your job. You hate your apartment. You look around, you say, where the fuck am I living? Am I living in a place like Mike, or am I living in some fucking shithole? I got like one little window in my bedroom looking into a fucking alleyway or something. Do you like where you live? Do you like that shit bucket of a car that you're driving, you hand me down from your grandma or your parents, or some car you bought for $2,000? Is that what you're proud of? Or does that make you feel like the fucking loser you are? You want more, right? I certainly did. You hate your fucking habits. You're sitting there you come home after work and your habits are to drink something or play video games that get you nowhere, watch TV, freaking jerk off by yourself, in some fucking corner like the fucking loser that you are, right? Nobody likes that. Nobody's fucking proud of being a fucking creep, jerking off by yourself, watching porn and fucking playing video games, and that's all you do. You wake up in the morning, you do the same fucking thing, the same routine, go back to your shit job, driving your shit car, and you fucking hate it. Then you're a fucking loser. But you can change. I certainly did. You can fucking do it too. It starts with figuring out, what do you want? In my case, I said, okay, I want to get in shape. And look, I knew I wanted to be in shape. I wrote it down before I even left New York. I said, when I get out of this bouncing bullshit and try and get into a high-powered career, I'm gonna have to get my fat ass in shape. And in all honesty, it took me like 6 years before I could finally do it. Before I could actually get the conviction to do it. Do it the right way, which is the way I'm doing it now. I put out a video, you guys can go back, a month and a half now, where I was just starting my workout, and I talk about my weight loss journey, my goals. So yeah, first figure out what you want. Figure out what physique you want, how much money you want to make, what kind of a career would you want to have if you could snap your fingers and do it. And then, the thing that really helped me was also finding a sense of purpose. Yeah, you want a Lambo. Yeah, you want a bunch of money. You want a sweet apartment like mine, or you want to drive a nice car like I do. You want all this bullshit, right? You want a great high-powered job, but what's the point of it all? What's the purpose? Is it because you want to reproduce? You want to have a wife and kids? Great. At least you have some kind of a purpose. But the problem is when you get to that purpose, you might get the wife and the kids, and then you're going to get lost again. And the best purpose you can have is to become the best version of yourself and give that man to the world. That's what I'm doing. And literally everything else that I want is falling into my lap. I started a business recently. Clients are falling into my lap. Money's falling into my lap from that business. I'm improving better at my job. My current employer's happy with me. I'm doing better because I have that sense of purpose, which is to improve myself. And by going to the gym every morning at 3:40 a.m., I'm up at 3:40. I'm in the gym at 4, running 10 miles a day. I do these things that make me so proud of myself because I know that I'm on a journey to self-improvement. I'm not saying that I have to be proud when I get to the end. When I finally look down and I look like fucking Batista or Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, right? It's more about being proud of the journey that I'm on and being proud of the man that I am today. And I don't have to wait until I achieve the results to be proud of that. I'm super proud of everything I've achieved financially, but even in this place, I was unhappy until I found my purpose. And so I just want to let you guys know you can do the same thing. Don't be that fucking piece of shit that I saw slinking up to me at the nightclub, because I saw thousands of them. There are plenty of these fucking losers out there. If you feel like you are one, I'm telling you, you don't have to be. You can change.